last but certainly not least, I have the pleasure of introducing Eduardo Rodriguez. Eduardo is joined by his wife, Carmen Garcia, his mother, Ekbe Rodriguez, and father, Leopoldo Rodriguez. Eduardo came to us from Venezuela, where he had received his degree from the Rossetti School of Medicine in Caracas. Demonstrated terrific clinical skills, and we were pleased to welcome him into our general surgery program. Eduardo was with me, and I think Chuck probably has the data. I'm pretty sure he holds the record for the most Whipples done by a resident on our service. It seemed when he was on the service, they were just pouring in. To his great credit, patients all did well. They were remarkably quick. Eduardo's a subtle surgeon. He's not flashy, but he's extremely efficient, technically very strong, and also took great care of the patients. It was really a lot of fun to have him on the service, and he will be going on in vascular surgery, going to Tampa at the University of South Florida vascular program. And to say a few words about it.
That's funny. So I'm short, it's okay. I'm going to depart from the script for a second. I would like to congratulate Rob Rosas on winning the awards tonight. Rob and Eduardo have something in common. First of all, both Rob and Eduardo trained while I was still a resident. And I think that Eduardo's year, the 2007 intern class, is the last class that I was still a resident, or fellow really, for their training. And I will always feel quite a bond to Eduardo and Holly and the other people who finished in 7 years. I urge them to remember Penn Surgery and to keep it in their hearts forever. The other thing that's relevant concerning Rob is that when Rob left for MD Anderson, I was basically distraught. I had lost my best friend. I had lost somebody who I had helped train. And I'm very sad as well to see Eduardo go. I suspect and I hope that someday he'll be back at Penn, if his family and his wife allow. But Eduardo was a great surgeon, and I only let him go down to Tampa with kind of the best wishes and a little bit of sadness. In any case, probably the best thing that summarizes Eduardo as a general surgeon here at Penn is that when he was done with his, or close to finishing his second year of general surgery, he made it clear that he wanted to stay on in the categorical program. And both myself and Ron Fairman, who sadly can't be here tonight and is one of Eduardo's mentors, wrote letters to John Morris and to Dr. Revin about Eduardo, encouraging them to keep him on in the categorical program. And whether it's my senility or maybe my, I don't know, 7 years, I'm 7 years older, I think that what I wrote at that time probably sums up Eduardo's clinical acumen and personality better than anything I could come up with now. So I'm just going to read very briefly from the letter. Eduardo did a tremendous job on the service. He is hardworking to a fault. It was a pleasure to work with him, and his ability to communicate effectively in 2 languages is valuable. He's generally resourceful and generous with his time and his efforts. What is most impressive about Dr. Rodriguez is his ability to learn and develop his clinical skills. His first day as our second-year resident was marked by a couple of oversights, and he clearly didn't initially appreciate the enormous leap in responsibility and autonomy in transitioning from the first year to the second year. On our service, the second-year resident sees all the consults, including such surgical emergencies as ruptured abdominal aortic aneurysms and strokes in evolution. By the second day, Eduardo had recalibrated and had redirected his own efforts to better perform as expected and required. By the end of the month of July, he was an extremely strong, well above average, mid-level resident. His judgment was better than the fellows on more than one occasion. Given his background and his initial role in our training program as a preliminary resident, we believe that Dr. Rodriguez is a real diamond in the rough and hope that he will be provided the opportunity to continue his surgical training here at Penn as a categorical general surgery resident. That letter presaged the excellent general surgeon that Eduardo has become. He's going to train at USF, but which, for those of you who don't know, is a really prominent academic program in vascular surgery led by both Dr. Murray Shams and by Carl Ehrlich. A few years ago, when Eduardo was deciding what lab to go into, he came to me to ask my opinion about what lab to go into, and in maybe making a big mistake, I told him that I was concerned about my ability to adequately mentor both Derek Nathan and Eric Shang and also Eduardo. And I suggested that he work in a giant of American surgery's lab, Dr. Ali Naji. And clearly it's been better for Eduardo. Eduardo and Dr. Naji's lab, and in the collaboration with Dr. Moeller, has produced 2 first author publications in Journal of Vascular Surgery and the Journal of Thoracic and Cardiovascular Surgery. And he's been enormously productive in a situation which not all of us would be. In short, I would expect great things from Eduardo, and I suspect and hope that I'll have the opportunity to collaborate with him in important studies in the future in both clinical vascular surgery and in research, and thus atone for my prior decision to let Dr. Rodriguez work with Dr. Naji. Thank you.
Gracias, Ben Jackson. The subtitles are going to be here. It's going to be in Spanish. You can check your iPhone. And a quick disclosure, the fact that I'm the only one who's some sort of Mexican has nothing to do with me giving the last one. It's just alphabetical order. Thank you, man. Thank you for your mentoring and the kind words, and for taking people up with, just wake the crowd with your smooth voice. You always hear during these speeches how honored and privileged people are. But in my case, that statement is definitely true, and I'm going to tell you why. I don't want to bore you with all the sacrifices I've made to come to the States, with included leaving my entire family, starting over after being 3 years away from finishing surgery residency, rejecting a position as a future attendant at one of the best private hospitals in my country, switching to 70 to 90 degree weather all year long for a nasty vortex winter. I'm not trying to copy Armando's speech here, and I'm not looking for a standing ovation, but I do want to tell you that how I led my beautiful wife, who at the time was my fiancée, and I moved here with nothing but a suitcase with clothes, lived in a hotel for my first 2 weeks of residency. I struggled in a new job with a foreign language. Of note, at that point, I could barely speak English. It hasn't changed much. Sorry, man, sorry. Like Ben would say. I'm almost done with that, but I even want to, not going to go into the visa details like tomorrow's, including getting locked outside of the U.S., and undergoing an investigation to make sure I was not a criminal, or getting married in a rush to avoid my wife would get deported. And of course the reality of not having family in this country when my wife and I went through a very difficult loss. But then I realized that despite all those issues, I was the luckiest guy on earth when Dr. Williams and later Dr. Morris and Draven gave me the opportunity to starting a new life at Penn. And I had the pleasure of meeting this amazing group of chief residents. I was scared as hell on how much effort would it take to even be close to the level of these 5 individuals. So as opposed to freaking out, I decided I was going to learn from them and push myself as close as possible to their performance. And this is what I learned. From Myron, it is just a working machine. The guy has the greatest amount of knowledge and discipline I know. And as a former chief resident once told me, I don't know what it is about Myron, but he always says we'll do the right thing. For Mina, even though I was terrified about her, she still scares me a little bit. I learned what determination and leadership are all about. Loved our times at the office at Pennsylvania Hospital. Holly taught me dedication to patient care. You guys know, as a PGY7, Holly stayed in the hospital until 9 p.m. getting a 22 gauge peripheral IV in the patient's pinky under ultrasound guidance. This is a true story. That is commitment. Will, the dream team, EOS intern year, what he showed me was what efficiency and getting the job done is all about, as you can tell by his speech. And of course, Carolyn, the organizational master, with her ability to never miss an email. Without her, it would have never been possible for me to finish due to my administratively challenged condition. The bottom line is that although I am who I am, thanks to the surgeons and the amazing faculty, NPs, PAs, or staff, my growth throughout these years and the fact that I'm a better person now is thanks to these 5 individuals who pushed me to my limits by making me work extra hard to get close to their amazing performance and high standards as residents. Thank you guys. So, I have 1 minute left, so I decided I just couldn't name all the people I wanted to thank. And this is a teaching point to the junior residents. Show appreciation and care about your team and the people you work with every day. So if you don't have time to thank during your chief speech, they will know how much you care, and even if you don't mention their names. And now I do have to apologize because this is a Spanish part. Mi madre y mi padre, gracias siempre por su apoyo. Sin ustedes hubiera sido posible. A mi hermano Gustavo, que no está aquí, por siempre darme el camino. Nico, Ale y Churi, sin ti hubiera sido imposible. Y siempre lograremos todo lo que queremos cuando estemos juntos. Thank you very much, and please don't forget to contact me for details about the after party.